Hi, welcome to Moose Jaw This Week. I'm Lyle Johnson. Of course, today we're talking on Moose Jaw This Week something very important to the city of Moose Jaw, and that is the fact that we have um, Greg Simpson with us talking about the Moose Jaw Airport Authority, a new and vital organization that's doing wonderful things in the last couple of years. And Greg is kindly consented to come join us. He's, of course, a retired executive member of the Simpson Seeds conglomerate, and he's now retired from that so he can spend more time on the airport authority. So, Greg, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lyle. Good to see you.
Good to be seen. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, Greg, a little bit of history. Of course, you're a pilot and have been for many years, and very interested in the facilities and the availability of the things that are at the Moose Jaw Airport, Municipal Airport. And so let's just get a little history of you and how you came to be where you are today.
From aviation's
Yeah.
perspective, I've always enjoyed aviation. I grew up under the skies of a 15 wing. I remember, Red Night, and of course, all the military traffic over our farm. And so I've always looked up and always wanted to be in the cockpit of one of those aircraft. And so as soon as I was able to, after university and got my first job, I was able to obtain my private pilot's license, and shortly thereafter purchased an aircraft in 1977, and I've been a pilot ever since. So I've had a passion for aviation. I've often used aviation not for just recreational purposes, but also for business purposes. And yeah, so I've certainly excited about aviation, and saw the airport authority and the prospects of re-envisioning and bringing a fresh vision to the airport, and really trying to get that asset to the place where it could be utilized in a greater way.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, yeah, the family business has grown, but through a lot of things, you got to fly to Africa and stuff like that with in a
Yeah,
plane.
well, yeah, that'd be commercial, of course.
Yeah,
I flew all across the nation with the aircraft I've flown as far, out to Vancouver and down to Halifax and south down to the Florida and Arizona, and up north as far as Yellowknife. So I've used the plane to get across the country. But on my prior career working for Simpson Seeds, marketing pulses and namely lentils around the world, we exported to 82 countries worldwide. And so yeah, I've traveled the world, did a couple of around the world tickets. So I was into India, Middle East, South America, all over Europe, of course, North Africa. So yeah, I've put probably a million miles on in commercial jets as
yeah.
well. So I often made sure pilots knew that I was in the back should they need any help. And
Did you ever get called up? Anybody take
well,
advantage
one
of that?
one time actually, just after I got my IFR rating, and this is before 911, right when or 911, yeah, when we were unable to get into the cockpit anymore. But I did say, "Hey guys, if you ever can get me up in the jump seat, I'd love to get up there with you." So sure enough, I was on a flight between Toronto and Ottawa, and I had the privilege of sitting in the jump seat and watching the pilots fly an A320 and take it into Ottawa. And so that was quite the experience. And being a new instrument rated pilot, going through and listening to all the procedures, the clearances, and so on and so forth, was really exciting. And yeah, I loved being up there. And it's unfortunate that we're locked out now.
Yeah, yeah. So, Greg, let's talk about Moose Jaw Airport. One of the biggest things that has happened in the last year has been the extension of the runway, and there's a lot more hangar spaces and stuff out there that have been developed in the last little bit. It's a thriving community out there. Walk us through that thing about the airport extension, which was a very big uh, draw for businesses for commercial traffic as now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so the vision that we had was to provide a safe airport, number one, and then to be able to have an impact on the social economic community of the city of Moose Jaw and the surrounding area. And so we took a 2,950 long airport runway that was deteriorated and needed to be rehabbed, and expanded that to a 4,000 foot long runway, new surface, and rehabbed the apron and taxiways. And and then as a result, we now have a safer airport, meaning that we can actually put larger aircraft in that are heavier weights and higher performance safely onto that airport, both on takeoff and departure at 4,000 feet. Um, so, I think this would be a surprise to some people. Statistically speaking, 85 to 90% of the takeoff and landings at that airport are business, commercial related. The airport does support a significant amount of aerial application to several RMs around Moose Jaw. And, you know, I think around 150 to 175,000 acres and growing in terms of coverage of acres. And so it's very vital that these aircraft that are flying off that airport are provided enough runway length to safely load up those aircraft that are quite often over 10,000 pounds in gross takeoff weight, with fuel and herbicides or fungicides, whatever it is that they're flying. And so that's one component. And then, of course, there's people who have businesses throughout Western Canada and down in the United States that use aircraft to be able to go direct point to point to make the most efficient use of time, and building business relationships, and growing business through their use of aircraft at the airport. So there's also the other component of it too, and we shouldn't forget, is the significance of the air ambulance service that comes in there, and the safety for them to be able to bring their Beech 200 in safely, and be able to provide that essential service to the community.
Yeah, and I think economically, people will be surprised when they realize how much economic benefit has been generated by the airport and the expansion. Because
Yeah,
the numbers people would really be impressed, which I'm going to let you tell now.
right, right. Well, so first of all, the importance of the expansion was we were able to bring in more space in order to build more hangars. That was a limiting factor at the time we took it over. There was no more space left to be able to build hangars. We've now have 3 new hangars built. We have many looking at building in 2022. We have ample space. We have over 640 acres of land that we're stewarding and operating on behalf of the city of Moose Jaw. So we're certainly open for new businesses to come in. More hangars are required. We're chronically short on storage still, so certainly inviting anybody listening to this broadcast that they should be coming and talking to us about building hangars for storage, for maintenance, and we've seen an increase in jobs. We've had a new aerial applicator business plant themselves at the airport, and they're planning on building a hangar in 2022, 2023. We've got more mechanics on the field. So there's certainly a lot of jobs and families that are supported by the business activities at the airport.
Yeah, and it's a multi-million-dollar investment in our community, and it generates that kind of funding, but
Yeah.
people don't understand that.
Yeah, just phase 1 of our expansion cost about $3.75 million. And we're seeing dividends of back into the community already. So again, not only safety alone. I mean, you can't put a dollar value on
No,
on life, right? I mean, making sure we have people operating safely out of that airport is our number one priority. A safe environment in order to operate from, but being able to support families through employment at the airport is significant, and we're going to just see more and more people coming that way, starting to seek careers in aviation and whichever component that would be. It's not all about piloting. As you know, there's maintenance, there's avionics, there's painting airframe. There's a lot of different aspects about aviation that people could take a look at as being a career. It could be a segue into commercial piloting if you wanted to.
And
It
we've
could,
got a pilot school out there now.
yes, we do. We do have a CFI now, certified flight instructor. They have a 172 Cessna that's just been refurbished. It's got a glass panel in it and modernized. They're going great guns. They've got a lot of interest in pilots coming up for training. I heard the numbers last night. We had something like 50 new pilots sign up already to do pilot training, recurrency training, night endorsements. So they're very busy, and I think that business model is going to expand. I believe there's going to be more aircraft coming, more instructors coming. Once again, more opportunities for those who are listening to check in and see if there's a fit for you in that area. So certainly the interest is high and keen at this point, and I believe it was what got this all rolling was the fact that we expanded the airport. It's now become a magnet and attracting a lot of people to this airport because it does have a lot of advantages over some of the larger chartered airports. So, being a registered airport, we can operate with less regulation, and which increases costs. But yes, we're able to provide lower lease rates for people looking at wanting to rent space out there. We're only 55 cents per square foot for lease space for hangars. So I think that's very competitive in terms of what's going on provincially and throughout Western Canada in terms of cost per square foot for leasing space. We don't have landing fees, although we do have a 5 cent per liter airport improvement fee added to our fuel. But that's a small amount of price to pay. It's linear. It's fair in terms of if you fly less, you pay less. The more you fly, of course, the more you pay. And so we feel it's a very equitable and fair way to try to recover some of the costs and contribute to the ongoing maintenance and expansion capital plans, et cetera, that we have for the airport.
Greg, that's all fascinating and such a positive thing. I'm waiting to hear on the local radio station when it's tell me something good. I'm waiting to hear them talk about the airport and the
Yeah,
success you've had.
yeah, yeah, and we really it was a great the city council that we've had in place in the last 4 years. They've been very supportive, and I think their people are becoming much more aware now of the airport. We have plans of working with tourism in Moose Jaw to attract more people to tourism for hotels and events in the city. And I think it's also important to know that we're going to have businesses that are going to come as a result of the airport that will appreciate the fact that they can fly from their corporate headquarters into Moose Jaw, come visit their businesses that they plan on building here. As you know, Moose Jaw is a great place to be able to invest in. We have an industrial park that's ready to be expanded upon. I do see in the future a lot more processing and manufacturing of foods, especially pulses and in durum wheat and special crops. So I think that we're going to see a continued growth in that area, which spells jobs that just pours money back into the economy and helps to support the growth of the city. And as you know, we need a good, strong tax base in order to not only maintain infrastructure, but also to grow the city.
And that wraps it up for Moose Jaw this week. And our guest today, Greg Simpson, talking about the Moose Jaw Airport Authority and the advances that take place out there. Thanks very much to Greg for being here, and thanks to you for watching. We'll see you again soon on Moose Jaw This Week.